Welcome to the Pulse with Peter B. I'm Nicolette Ayala. Let's get you to the pulse on everything you need to know. Today's show is brought to you by the Hudson County Property Rights Coalition. And joining us today is our Places insider, Daria DeLucia of At Hoboken Eats. What is up, my girl?
Hi,
How are you?
I'm so excited that you're on right now. I have no idea.
I know. I'm so excited. It's the first time.
I know. I have a feeling you're going to be on a lot more. We're going to kick Peter out of here.
Girl power,
We're
girl power.
We're going to have to cross the name out on these microphones.
Oh my God, he'll kill us. Okay, so I figure we just jump right in. We're going to talk about today the Turning Point in Hoboken, and I'm actually a fair newly customer there, so I know you're a vet there, so let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. It's actually funny because I went to Monmouth for college, and there's a Turning Point down there, right in Pier Village, and that's actually where I first became acquainted with the Turning Point. Anytime I'd have family come down, we'd go there, and it was like the special treat, like the fun breakfast place. My parents would come down; they'd be so excited to go. And so then we moved to Hoboken. My mom was ecstatic to find out that there's one uptown right here. So, extensive menu. Breakfast and lunch.
So amazing.
They're not open for dinner. It's delicious.
It's so amazing.
I'm personally the biggest fan, and it's my guilty pleasure whenever I go. And I know we were just talking about coffees, but the vanilla chai latte is my weakness.
Oh, I gotta try that.
It comes in like this little carafe, and you pour it yourself, and it's like 2.5 cups in it. It's my drug, if you want to call it that. I love it.
Anything vanilla, I feel like, is just amazing in general.
Summer, winter, I don't care. I can drink it anytime.
Okay. Well, my favorite, I actually went there last week with one of my best friends. She came out from Long Island, and we actually tried the campfire latte.
I've heard a lot about that.
Let me just I
lay it out for me.
I'll read it out. It's chilled espresso, milk, toasted marshmallow syrup, whipped cream, and crushed graham crackers.
Oh my God.
So I don't know if you're a coffee person, but that was like, I took one to go. I was like, I got to take this to go. It was amazing.
Big coffee person, a little bit less of a chocolate person, but I actually took a picture of it when my friend got it too, because I was like, this is the most beautiful, epic thing I've ever seen placed in front of me that I can't eat.
Yeah,
or drink.
It was so good. I think another thing I actually tried that day was the blueberry chocolatey pancakes. It's just chocolate chips, strawberries, and chocolate drizzle. Chocolate chips, strawberry, chocolate drizzle, and it was phenomenal.
They have so many pancakes there. Another one you have to try, like highly recommend cinnamon roll pancakes.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm gonna lay it out for you. I took my mom there for her birthday in November, and literally, we were like, all right, we're gonna be healthy. Like, we're gonna like try and eat somewhat healthy, which is I don't know why. I got a grain bowl, so it was like quinoa, some vegetables, egg on top. Really, really good. My mom got just like a regular Swiss cheese omelet to her go-to. And we're like, all right, what's your birthday? We should try and like treat ourselves. 3 massive cinnamon roll pancakes later, like didn't even eat our healthy food. We just crushed the pancakes. Literally phenomenal. And my mom and I do not agree on sweets. So good.
So it was the perfect array of sweetness, and it wasn't too
savory,
overpowering.
Yes. Yeah. Like I like salty, and she's like, give me all of the sweets possible. So it was a nice combination for both of us.
I wish they were open right now. I could go. And then another thing I actually tried was the smoked salmon Benedict. So I'm huge into eggs Benedict, and I personally feel like, salmon's iffy. A lot of people are like hit or miss with it, and it was really good.
It's interesting because I feel like you see eggs Benedict on the menu a lot, but they put twists on everything, right? Like they have a pretty extensive eggs Benedict menu too.
Yes. What else? I actually think I want to probably go there this weekend.
100% you should.
At some point I'll find out.
You should get a skillet there.
Okay.
If you like eggs, the Wilbur skillet. And it's kind of funny because whenever I was like very proud that I had that one time, and they were like, that's like a pig skillet. I was like, it's fine. I ate the entire thing. It's totally fine. But it's like, comes literally in a skillet. It's like hash browns, or the breakfast potatoes.
Right.
Egg, bacon, like onions, and
Are you guys
cheese.
listening to this?
I'm drooling because I am. And they have a few different options too. It's literally so good. So good.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Okay, what else? What else would you do?
I also am a huge fan of their. They have a lot of waffles.
Okay.
And they have a few different toast options too.
Okay.
They have like chicken and waffles. So they also infuse, I feel like, fruit into a lot of their pancakes and waffles as well.
Right.
And then venturing off into the lunch realm, they have a lot of salads, sandwiches. More, it's like diet conscious food without trying to be. Like, they have healthy options on there.
Right.
But I would say that their breakfast, there's definitely a lot more of indulgent foods. Right. When I was there last Wednesday, I got a half sandwich and half soup combo.
Oh,
so they offer
okay.
like fun stuff like that, like allow you to mix and match, because genuinely I stared at the menu for 10 minutes being like, I want one of everything.
Literally.
But it worked out. But the other thing that's really good there is, oh my God, I'm blanking on it. They have one of their sandwiches. It's like turkey cheese,
like a club dish.
a club sandwich.
Okay.
And honestly, it sounds so basic, but it's literally one of my favorites. And I've been on here raving about crazy cheese pulls and
Right,
crazy
yeah,
foods.
yeah, yeah.
It's just really good food. Good
Right.
food, and I feel like good for you a lot of the time too. So it's amazing.
I definitely think one thing we could agree on, well, amongst other how amazing the food is, but everything's always hot.
Yes.
When it comes out. And I feel like that's super, 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 super important.
Yep.
Because especially, I know you've been there on the weekends, whether it's during the weekday or on the weekend, and, you know, it's a crowd and, you know, you're waiting for your food. There's nothing worse than going to a place and you have cold food. But every single time that I've gone, the food is piping hot.
Piping
and that's
hot, ready to go.
one thing I love about that. I think that's something that, you know, has to.
You can't beat it.
exactly.
100%. And you brought up a good point. The crowds.
Right.
So usually you go, I mean, down the shore during the summer on a weekend is literally you're spending your whole day there waiting to get in, which is worth it. But even in Hoboken, you'll see a lot of people waiting outside. It's right up across the, I mean, it's across from, you know, it's on the water, so it's a fun little view out there.
Exactly.
But you are 100% waiting for a table, and they don't do reservations. You can do,
That's right.
You can do call ahead. I just remembered that you can do call ahead and put your name down, but they don't take reservations.
And another thing I just remembered that I think they close at 3.
Yeah.
And actually I went last weekend, I walked in at 2:30 and they sat us and, you know, they didn't rush us or anything.
Yeah.
So that's super important too. And props to them for, you know.
And I also, just because we're talking about how amazing they are, I'm the worst person a lot of times to go out to dinner or to breakfast. And I'm like, well, can you substitute this and can you do this for me? They substitute anything and everything, which goes to show you're not walking into a restaurant that has a kitchen that's just throwing some frozen stuff together and is like, well, the chef already pre-made this last week or last night, and this is what you're going to get. Like, I swapped my vegetables. They have, like, I want to say like 5 or 6 different omelet options. I constantly am asking for different things in them, taking certain things out, and they're so accommodating every time.
Right. I mean, listen, hopefully once everything kind of sort of goes back to normal, we can
go out
maybe
together.
we can go together. That'll be fun. I think that'll be interesting.
Crush coffee, pancakes, and
there
all
you
the
go.
things.
Do the whole 9. Let's go full course. Everything.
We want a feast.
Right. All right, Daria. Well, it was good speaking with you. I'm so glad we were able to do this.
Me too.
Hopefully we can do this again. Yes. Talk about other foods.
Bye, Peter. You're out.
I'm just kidding. All right. Folks, we'll be right back.
My story is a New Jersey story, and it all started right here on Anderson Street in Raritan Borough, where my parents owned a bar and restaurant and raised their family. I'm Jack Chittarelli. Jersey's where I started and built 2 successful Main Street businesses, creating jobs and opportunities for fellow New Jerseyans. It's where Melinda and I raise our 4 children. This is my home, and yours. But New Jersey is broken. You know it, and I know it. And we're going to fix it together. Every one of us has our New Jersey story. As governor, I'll work hard every day to ensure that our children and their children can write their own.
Welcome back to the Pulse with Peter B. Peter Biancamano back in the host chair, but I want to thank Nicolette Ayala for guest hosting our last segment with the lovely Daria De Lucia of At Hoboken Eats. And we're just going to keep the food going here on the Pulse. And I'm joined making his Pulse premiere by a very, very special guest. And oh, look at that. He's even cheering himself on, which I absolutely love. Nick Mattia, the founder of Ready Strong Meals, and he's just, a walking billboard tonight.
Got the
As you
sweatpants.
can see. I just noticed
the
that.
beanie.
Exactly, the beanie. Nick, what's
Everything
going
branded.
on, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you, Peter? Nice to be
doing
here.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming in.
Love it.
So Nick, you actually reached out to us on Instagram. Make sure
did.
you follow at the Pulse with Peter B
Yes.
and follow at Ready Strong Meals
Yes.
on Instagram. And you were basically like, look, I have this meal prep program.
Sure.
And the first thought that came into my head was, oh my God, meal prep. That is such I feel COVID time initiative. Correct?
Exactly. It's funny. A lot of meal prep industry has been around for years, but what's happening is a lot of chefs, restaurants are transforming into meal prep, right? Because they can't have patrons come in to eat. So essentially what they have is they're delivering food to people. So it's essentially prepared meals. And I started the company about 2.5 years ago.
So it was pre-COVID. Gotcha.
Pre-COVID.
And talk to me why you started the company.
So I started the company because I loved cooking, and I wanted to revolve my life around cooking and food. And I was working in corporate America at the time. I was working for a bunch of different companies for about 8 years, and I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled.
Right.
So I wanted to make an impact on my life and other people's. So what I did was I actually left a job where I was working for about 5.5 years in the corporate world and started working in restaurants for free.
For free?
For free.
Just to get the experience, I'm sure.
Just to get the experience.
Wow.
I've always cooked at home, but never on a professional level. So I wanted to really understand the food industry and immerse myself. So I worked there for about 1.5 years, and then after a while, I was like, all right, now you guys got to start paying me. So I demanded some money.
I was gonna say, my community service is
Yeah,
over. My
exactly.
probation period,
They
right?
threw me in. It was funny. The one of the first weeks in New York City, they threw me on the line, which is basically you're working stations during restaurant week. So it was one of the busiest days of the weeks. I was scared out of my mind. I was super nervous, and they were like, "Okay, you have to cook, for all these people," and the restaurant was packed, and I was just panicking. But you know what? I like being thrown into the fire because then you learn, right? And you kind of fail, you screw up, and then you learn more. And then every other week after that was easy to me.
Interesting.
So
Now, COVID has been going on now for close to a year. I mean, it's a year that we all want to forget,
Yeah.
correct?
Oh,
I mean,
2020,
that
man.
many people, exactly.
Yeah, crazy.
So would you say that business has boomed
Yeah,
actually
so-
during COVID instead of your first, as compared to your first year and a
it's
half?
funny, Peter. At first, business went down. There was a slight decrease in business because if you notice the trend of everybody wanting to cook,
We
right?
spoke about this, right?
Everybody wanted to be a chef. Everybody was making banana bread. I think that was a popular theme in April. And then after a while, people were like, "Screw this! I don't want to cook. I don't want to do dishes. Let me just order out." And then in April, May, I saw an uptick in business, and I started getting super busy. But what happened was I had to rechange and repivot my entire business model because we didn't deliver at first. We just had pickup locations.
Wow.
So, and all of the pickup locations were in gyms and companies. And we'll close down when COVID hit. Gyms and companies.
Absolutely.
Right? So everybody's working from home. Nobody was going to the gym. You can't go to the gym. So I had to really just change and pivot and adjust and start delivering. And that's exactly what I did. I was delivering myself. I hired a driver when we were getting busier. And now I have 2 drivers and myself.
Interesting.
So
Wow, look at that.
it's
So you're
just with the
expanding,
growth.
but I mean, like you said, it's growth. I mean, here at the Pulse, I mean, we have a very small group,
Exactly.
and we're growing bigger and bigger as the years go by.
Sure.
So now, Nick, okay, so I have to admit, folks, Nick hooked me up with some meals earlier this week.
I always try to take care of people.
He unbelievable meals as well. And explain to me the 2 meals you gave me.
Yes.
What was in them?
So I gave you the Cajun crusted salmon, and then I gave you the rosemary chicken. Okay. So Cajun crusted salmon, it's fresh Atlantic salmon with garlic, fresh garlic, Old Bay seasoning, touch of salt, pepper, fresh lemon juice. We roast it in the oven for about 20-25 minutes. And then I believe I gave you string beans.
I think you gave me some
string
beans. And broccoli.
beans.
And we're going to start with the salmon.
Yes.
Because I texted Nick the other day, and I was like, Nick,
I can
this
show you
was
guys the text, too.
incredible. I think you put it as a story,
Yes,
too.
I did.
One of my guys
always
actually
promote.
told me.
I
I
always
like that. I
promote.
like that a lot. I mean, the salmon was just so
Yeah,
good.
we make sure it's cooked perfect
But,
amount.
Here's the thing that impressed me the most was I threw it in my refrigerator
Yep.
because I
Yeah,
wasn't
you
going to
throw it
eat
in.
it right
Exactly,
away.
yeah.
Put it in the oven for maybe 10,
That's actually
15 minutes.
smart because a lot of people put it in the microwave.
Exactly.
So the oven is actually smarter.
I did it with the oven, and I'm telling you, folks, absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely
I'm
phenomenal.
glad you loved it.
Talk to me, and the vegetables too.
Yeah.
Do you put some sort of garlic on the broccoli?
Yeah,
or?
garlic on everything.
Oh.
Garlic's in my blood.
So good.
So
He's a paisan.
Yeah,
That's
I'm a
why.
paisan. So, garlic is essentially in every single meal that you'll eat from Ready
It was
Strong
phenomenal.
Meals.
And then I had the chicken dish.
Yes, you had the
that-
rosemary chicken. So it's fresh chicken breast that we source locally, and we grill it. We season it first with a touch of olive oil, some lemon juice, garlic, obviously, rosemary and thyme. We let it sit in the marinade overnight, so it gets really juicy and moist. And then we sear it on the grill and then roast it.
It was
to
great.
make sure the juices are intact.
And again, folks, threw it in my refrigerator. I ate it
Yeah.
last. Well,
Oven
we're
or
filming
microwave
Thursday.
for the oven for the chicken.
I actually put it in the oven.
Okay, good.
And
Smart.
it didn't dry it out or anything like
good,
that.
good.
I only put it in for a few minutes.
Yeah, smart.
And again, absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, I have to give credit to my girlfriend. She was the one that was like, you got to put it in the oven.
You know
She
what?
was
A
like,
lot of people put it in the microwave just because they don't want to, wait for the oven to heat up. But the oven is actually you'll enjoy the meal a little bit better.
I
and some
agree.
people pan sear it too.
I
They'll throw it in the
100%.
on the pan.
So do you think that the two meals that I received were probably your most popular meals? And if not, what other meals are?
I would say the chili, our beef chili, that we make with tomatoes, chili powder, cumin, a little pepper, garlic, of course, onion, touch of Worcestershire sauce. I always screw that word up.
No, that's all right.
And also our honey soy meatballs.
Oh,
So
soy meatballs.
honey soy turkey meatballs.
Turkey meatballs. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
So what we do is we buy lean ground turkey, and we make a mixture with whole wheat breadcrumbs, the turkey obviously, little eggs to make it bind together, low fat milk,
Gotcha.
thyme, garlic, and ginger. We shape them into decent sized meatballs, roast them for about 20-25 minutes, and then we make a honey soy reduction sauce. So it's really good. It's soy sauce, honey, garlic, ginger, and that's it.
Now, one of the
That's
things
great.
that impressed me on the packaging actually
Yep.
was how many grams of protein
Exactly.
each dish
Have
had.
all the
I was
macros.
wondering if you could explain that because
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
That's very. I thought that was genius. Of you. I really did.
So a lot of people they ask, what are the calories in the meal? What's the fat? What's the carbs? And these are all macronutrients, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is we work with local nutritionists. We work with MyFitnessPal, and we come up with the macros based on the food. So we have the calories, the fat, the carbs, and the protein, and then all the ingredients listed on the packaging.
Okay.
We just
So-
think that's important,
no,
to
I think
people.
it's fantastic. And again, I can vouch for it. Now, the most important question is, how does this work?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
what,
good
what
question.
do people do?
Great question.
What do people do? Where they can find you on social media?
Great question. So-
any phone numbers they can contact you?
It's
So-
it's pretty simple. You go to our website, ReadyStrongMeals.com.
Mm-hmm.
You follow us on Instagram, which is Ready Strong Meals. We're very active. We try to post
Very active.
multiple times a day.
My texts were on
multiple
the story.
stories. Exactly. So anything good comes our way,
No,
we post it.
I was humbled by it. Trust
Yeah,
me.
good. So you go on our website, you order the meals. So you basically have to put in your meal order Thursdays, which is today, before 10 p.m. for pickup or delivery on Monday. So you can select the pickup location. We have a bunch of locations in Hoboken. We recently partnered with CrossFit Hoboken. We work with Hudson River Athletics, J-Train, which is a new studio up in actually right over here on 13th and Washington.
Right.
We work with Jersey City CrossFit. We were working with Walmart e-commerce, but obviously due to the pandemic, things got shut down. So we still work with some of their employees. We deliver to them locally. Or you can pick up at those locations for $0, or there's a flat fee of $6 where we deliver locally, and the delivery is from 12 to 4 p.m. on Mondays.
$6. That's less than an Uber
So
that you would pay across town. It's nothing.
It's
Absolutely.
nothing. And the food is good, so
Exactly.
it's worth it. It's worth every
Well,
dollar.
Nick Madia, thank you so much
Yes,
for coming
thank you,
into
Peter.
studio, and hopefully we'll see you on. And try them out. Ready
Yeah.
Strong Meals.
Yeah,
You
definitely
have
check us
to.
out.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, maybe in the future, I can bring either Daria or one of our other
Yeah,
food
definitely.
insiders.
We'll make a recipe or something.
and we'll do
make
something
the
in the
turkey
kitchen,
meatballs.
correct?
Yeah,
Instead of
exactly.
in the studio. Well, thank you
Yeah,
again for
great.
joining us.
All right, thank you, Peter. Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Folks, we will be right back.
My story is a New Jersey story, and it all started right here on Anderson Street in Brereton Borough. where my parents owned a bar and restaurant and raised their family. I'm Jack Chitterelli. Jersey's where I started and built 2 successful Main Street businesses, creating jobs and opportunities for fellow New Jerseyans. It's where Melinda and I raise our 4 children. This is my home, and yours. But New Jersey is broken. You know it, and I know it. And we're going to fix it together. Every one of us has our New Jersey story. As governor, I'll work hard every day to ensure that our children and their children can write their own.
Welcome back to the Pulse with Peter B. And this is our Politics with Peter B segment, joined by somebody who needs no introduction, my good friend, and that's Josh Sotomayor Einstein. Josh, what's going on, brother?
To be here, I'm glad you consider me a good friend. I consider you someone I know.
And not even an acquaintance. I was an acquaintance a few months ago, but apparently that has changed, correct?
Things happen.
Yeah. So we before your segment here, we actually had 2 food segments. Are you hungry?
Very much so.
All right. I'd like to hear. Josh, I got breaking news to start out with. We asked our Instagram audience a poll of who they would like to be the next mayor of Hoboken. I'm sure you heard of this, correct? And in the lead is Peter Biancamano.
It must have been rigged like the federal election was.
There he goes. Showing his national politics. Anyway, well, I don't foresee myself running for mayor this year, much to the chagrin of our audience.
Even though you are sometimes liberal, sometimes progressive, you would have my vote because at the end of the day, you're a good guy. And that's the only time I'll say that, and I'll deny that I said it ever.
We're just going to put this on rewind right now. Anyway, Josh, we do have a mayoral election coming up this November, and it just got very, very interesting because, of course, Councilman Ramos announced that he wasn't going to run. Councilwoman Fisher announced that she wasn't going to run. So it looks like we might have a head-to-head of major candidates between Mayor Bala and Councilman DeFusco.
Well, I have long suspected that that's what it was going to end up being. That's what it was going to end up being. I'm just curious, when DeFusco is going to start, at least de facto campaigning. He doesn't have to do it de jure. He doesn't have to make a fancy declaration or anything. But the time, I think, is now. And I think he's doing himself a disservice. Now, on the spectrum of people that are involved in City Hall, I find some people more offensive with their, high taxation, big government policies, and some people less offensive. He's definitely one I find less offensive. So I would definitely, be rooting against him less than I'd be rooting against Bala, who is more offensive with his policies. But the big question is when are you going to launch?
When are you going to launch this? Right. Now, Josh, what's interesting is I got a lot of crap, let's just say, when I interviewed Councilman DeFusco months ago in his backyard. I don't know if you remember that or not.
It was a good interview.
Thank you. I appreciate
Despite
that.
the interviewer.
See, the compliment right down. Anyway, by saying that I believed he most likely was going to be the next mayor. Now, Mayor Bala, in my opinion, and I know we had Frank Rosner in this chair a few weeks ago.
Good guy.
Exactly.
Best guest host.
Frank is a great guy. Mayor Bala, in my opinion, has done a very good job at handling the pandemic. But can you talk to the audience about the internal poll that his administration has released?
So first, I don't think Bala gets credit just for existing during the time of the pandemic and handing out the vaccines. Anybody that was in that seat, even if it was you, would be doing the same thing in terms of that. Secondly, when it comes to this poll that the Bala camp is all chest out about, it's logical for them to be chest out about it because they want to scare off anybody that might sort of try to challenge them. But the reality is an internal poll is worth the piece of paper that it's printed on, especially when they go public with it, because it's meant as, the same way a push poll is meant, to scare other people off from challenging them. So I don't think it's worth really anything. Obviously, when asked positive questions, people are going to have positive answers. That's just the way human beings are. But when confronted with actual controversial decisions of any administration, not just Bala, but any, people are going to open up more. And that's the big question. In an honest, open poll that doesn't just ask positives, what is the people's reaction to the Bala administration?
And it's funny you say, and just so the audience knows, the poll basically had the Bala approval rating, I believe, like 80%, and his disapproval rating was obviously in the 20% mark. And right away, I noticed that it was done by his researcher, and you and I had a chuckle on it.
Oh yeah, it's always very funny. Almost as funny as when push polls come out. And I know marijuana hasn't been legalized in New Jersey yet because Trenton can't get its act together on anything. But for people to believe that poll, I think they have to be smoking marijuana.
Anyway, but I actually believe that the mayoral race is going to be a tight race. I actually think that Mayor Bala is not going to be a walkover. Do I give the slight edge to DeFusco? Yes, I do. And I'm going to get crucified for that. To Councilman DeFusco, that is. But would you agree that it's going to be tighter or it's going to be a landslide?
Well, I think past is prologue, so you have to look at what happened last go around. Now, structurally, the election is different. Last time was the person in the lead gets the win. Whoever gets the plurality of the votes, and there was a bajillion people running. Sometimes it seemed like there was less people, not running than there were running. Sometimes it meant seemed like there were more people running. Yeah. Anyway, so this time you have to get a majority. You have to get 50% and then one more vote. And with a field that's shaping up just to be two people, Bala and DeFusco, Bala can't go the route that he went last time, where even though it's technically and legally a nonpartisan election, where he just sent mailers to hardcore progressive Democrats in Hoboken, stressing his progressive bona fides repeatedly. Because he needs more people to vote for him than last time. And last time, even with the total hit job against DeFusco with the racist flyer that made it look like it came from his camp, DeFusco came within, what was it, 500, 600 votes?
550 votes, I believe.
So without the handicap of a political hit job done by people unknown, and without Bala's ability to hit on the progressive vote and just try to get us plurality, I think it's really anyone's race.
There you go. Well, and we still have 10 months of talking about this. So
several lifetimes in politics.
It certainly is. It certainly is. Really quickly, we're going to move on to another issue that came about this week, and that was Councilman Cohen's elect complaint against Councilwoman Fisher for basically filing an elect report 6 days earlier than it was supposed to be filed. Politics at its best?
Well, I think everybody makes mistakes, and I'm sure everybody in the world has misfiled papers at one time or place. It's just politics is normal. Unfortunately, politics is a blood sport, and instead of arguing about policy, people like to take punches that are, I'm not going to say this punch was below the belt, but, maybe around the buckle area. So that's politics.
He did warn her, though, in January. He did last January. He did say, you filed your elect report incorrectly, but apparently it took her a year to try to fix this, and now he filed a complaint.
Yeah, listen, I'm not saying that she's blameless in this, but at the end of the day, it's really small fries. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with policy or the direction of the city or any differences that they have or the fact that taxes only ever go up. So it's really just, someone needed something to throw at somebody, and there was an opening. And that happens a lot in politics.
Exactly. Well, my not-so-good friend Josh Sotomayor-Einstein, thank you so much for joining us. Folks, today's show is brought to you by the Hudson County Property Rights Coalition. You can find more information at the link below. Thank you for joining us this week. Join us next week for The Pulse on everything you need to know. I'm Peter Biancamano. Have a great week.
I'm Jack Chittarelli. Jersey's where I started and built 2 successful Main Street businesses, creating jobs and opportunities for fellow New Jerseyans. It's where Melinda and I raise our 4 children. This is my home and yours, but New Jersey is broken. You know it, and I know it, and we're going to fix it together.
The Pulse with Peter B. is a proud partner of Eyes on NJ.